This video is brought to you by TS4U IT Engineering Bootcamp.
We normally cover here the Java, because to me Java is very important. You guys know this. Java is sitting down. Java programming is sitting down somewhere in the middle, the whole world. I mean, the C and the Java, then all other small programming. When I say the small, means they followed the Java. When Java escaped, Python and all came along. So we teach here Java. There is a reason only a couple of the module we cover. So I have the experience how she answered one of the interview, but let her answer the question. So how in depth you need to know the programming, and is it basic that we cover here, or you need to really know you need to go to the coding bootcamp to pass the CloudOps interview question?
Right. This is something I feel like a lot of people might be curious about because we're trying to understand just how much of a part coding plays in the DevOps engineering world. And when you initially step into it, at first I thought it wasn't enough. I was like, oh my God, I think I have to get some Udemy course or something, or I have to watch YouTube videos or something to learn. It feels intimidating at first. But again, during my lock-in time, that one-on-one caged time, I would watch all the coding webinars that Shibu sir has created and our mentors have created. And that gives a basic overview of everything. And that is enough, because the truth is, and people know this, it depends. Maybe some organizations want you to be very good at coding. That's up to you if you want to work somewhere like that. But typically and more commonly, most places, they just want you to have basic understanding. They will not necessarily expect you to start coding and programming all day, but as long as you have an eye for it, because a DevOps engineer, a cloud engineer, we will be working with coding and some scripting, and people will provide it to us, yes, but we should be able to look at it and spot things and make sense of everything. So for that, you need a basic understanding. I have had some, and every interview question related to coding has been just basic stuff, integers, or how do you get a dependency? How do you install, what little word you use for a dependency? Basic stuff. Rather, the webinar covered more than that. It gave us a real life deployment example. So with coding questions, I've not had anything too crazy. Use, of course, what kind of process or interview process or application you're dealing with. You go at your discretion. Some want to do coding tests with you, some just want basic understanding, but it's up to you which one you want. For me, it's typically been just basic stuff. For example, for this role, they wanted to, another good thing I just want to mention is be honest in a way that helps. Be honest in your answers. Which later on I was told that they appreciated that about certain things answering. I was honest. Be honest intelligently. Don't be like, oh, I don't know anything. Say, I know this much, but I'm very eager to learn more and start right away. You have to answer in that way. Because a problem that I recognize, and I'm sure Shibu sir tells us all the time, to keep right attitude, to have that learner attitude. In the job experience and industry, I've seen it too, because I've had a lot of employers say, we had employees, DevOps engineers, who were very good at what they do. They are very technically 10 years experience, 15 years of experience exactly in what we do, but they did not have the right attitude, or they were not fully honest about what they knew or what they didn't know, or they did not want to learn. And they said, we don't want to keep those employees. We'd rather have someone who doesn't know but has the right attitude and will learn and is honest about what they're good at and what they're not good at. So, be intelligently honest. I was asked, so what is your experience with coding languages? We use Python or JavaScript. Which one do you prefer? What is your experience with it? I answered honestly. I said, I have limited experience in both, because I work with a lot of scripting, and in my past roles, my software engineers created everything. I never had to program, but I have an eye for it. But I am very eager to learn, and so I can wear many hats in my role and, develop myself that way. They appreciated that. I did not know coding fully right away, but I said I knew enough and I'm going to only learn more and develop myself, and I had basic understanding. Then they said, okay, then which language do you prefer? Now you understand that they're going to, because you had a personal answer, you show that you want to learn. Now they want, I could tell that now they want to see how my thinking is. They said, oh, then which one do you prefer, JavaScript or Python? I said, both are pretty similar, but right, I'm preferring Python. And they're like, okay, that's good. That is a good basic to start with. If you know that, you can learn all the others too. Then I said, but since you said you're learning Python, how do you feel? What are the pros and cons of Python? Why do you want to learn this over JavaScript? Oh, you might think I did not expect this question. This is half behavioral, half technical. They just want to see if I'm really been learning, what my reasoning skills are, why I'm choosing it. I just said, oh, the pro with Python is that it is beginner friendly, it is flexible, there are just so many libraries. However, a con is that it is sometimes it is less secure. It can be a little slower, and then they said, oh right, because two people were interviewing me. They're like, yes, you're right, this is my experience with it, that the other person said that's my experience with it. They use that answer to assess you, to see where you're at both technically and behaviorally, and then also to segue into their conversation. Most things are conversational. So that's why I say be honest intelligently. Because certain levels of honesty makes room for a conversation, and they don't want an interview that is boring and rigid and it's just yes, no, this, that, no. They want some personality from you. They want to see if you want to learn. So understand those things. That you get a mix of questions. Some are very strict questions about tools. Some they're kind of just randomly bringing up to see where you're at.
So I want to clarify a couple things. Number one, the reason we want a DevOps engineer, they have a core roles and responsibility. At the same time, there is the Python developer development going on, the PHP going on, JavaScript going on, Java going on. But they also depend on the DevOps engineer. DevOps engineer also depend on them, because collectively we actually develop an application and we provide to the client. So they don't need to know all my DevOps role. I don't need to know all the coding. That's the reason we all want the basic exposure, like the variable, how to read the code, how to identify the code differences, right? And you can actually see what is the dependency, what was before, what is after. Of course, we cover each of these, the word by word. When they say it, there is a reason. Because if you know too much, now they cannot hire you because it's a risk for them. So now you may actually you start poking the developer now. I know the DevOps engineer got fired because they're starting to telling the developer how to write the code because they have experience. Even though you have experience, step back. Stay in your lane. Do not cross the boundary. It's a problem. So you always know your boundary where you have to stay. The role you're hired, stay there. If you need some assistance, professionally ask. That's all you need. But if they did not hire you as CTO of the company, do not tell them something not relevant of the CTO role. That's the reason we always want you stay in your role and you just know whatever you need to know. Do not cross that. That's the reason.